Hello and welcome to day 2 of the OVO Energy Women's Tour. Today we're in Stoke-on-Trent, which hosts both the start and the finish of today's 144-kilometre stage. Before we concentrate on today's action though, let's look back at yesterday. There was a blustery start to this year's OVO Energy Women's Tour, but fortunately the rain stayed away and the crowds turned out in Daventry as the 99 riders rolled out for the 147-kilometre opening stage. The peloton was taking it steady and the riders were together as they faced the first Skoda Queen of the Mountains climb at Hazel Beach. As they crossed the summit, the points went to Audrey Cordon-Ragot of Wiggle High 5, ahead of WM3 Pro Cycling's Katarzyna Niewiadoma. The sun was shining and there was plenty of support as the race approached the first iceberg sprint in Desborough. The points went to Lisa Klein of Cervelo, with Jolien Dora of Wiggle High 5 in second place and Amy Peters from the Bowles Dolmans team in third. No real movement in the race as the riders hit the bottom of the second Queen of the Mountains climb, a punchy 1-kilometre effort at Rockingham Hill. And again it was the French rider Audrey Cordon-Ragot who was first over the top to claim the maximum points. The decisive move came at the second iceberg sprint after Jolien Dora pipped Lisa Klein in a reversal of the earlier battle. The Polish national champion Katarzyna Niewiadoma went clear of the peloton and quickly opened up a gap. And she was able to pile on the pressure, eventually establishing a lead of over 3 minutes into a headwind. This was a gutsy ride from the 22-year-old who raced the final 45 kilometres out on her own, as the peloton finally recognised the danger and tried to limit the damage.
The victory salute is already beginning to unfold here. There it is, she's holding the pigtail to the side and massive salutes as she crosses the line. Brilliant win for WM3 Pro Cycling. The first win of the year then for Niewiadoma, the Polish champion. She's home and she'll be the first leader of this tour.
So with time bonuses, Katarzyna Niewiadoma leads the general classification with an impressive advantage of 1 minute and 46 seconds from teammate Marianne Vos. Third is Christine Majerus, a couple of seconds behind, with a large group on 1 minute and 52 seconds. Well, wearing the Adnams Best British Rider jersey today is Alice Barnes. Alice, great ride from you yesterday and an interesting stage, wasn't it? But how pleased are you to be wearing that jersey as the best placed British rider today?
Yeah, it's an honour to wear the jersey. It's obviously against some pretty tough competition, so yeah, it was unexpected but really nice to finish strong yesterday with 7th and go into the jersey.
And of course, being the Women's Tour here in Great Britain, this must have been a race that you've targeted.
Yeah, definitely. It's a massive race on the women's programme, with it being World Tour and also a home race. It's always hotly contested and I've been working hard towards it, so it's nice for it to pay off.
As I said, an interesting stage yesterday. Kazia went off with 50 kilometres to go and has taken the lead in this race. What was going on in the peloton behind?
Yeah, it was all the big teams sort of looking at each other and not wanting to try and chase it back too early. She got a really good gap and obviously she's a strong rider, so it was a surprise how much of a gap they let her get, and yeah, never really was a well-formed chase going on, so yeah, it's going to be tough to be bridged back. Was there a sense of frustration, if you like, within that peloton that it wasn't organised enough to let her get such a fantastic lead in this race? Yeah, I think so. Every time the motorbike came back and gave the time gap that she'd got, everyone was very shocked, but never seemed to do anything after that. So I think for me it was just a case of following the wheels, because it's a long race and yeah, we're not the strongest team out there, so we didn't want to do too much, and yeah, just followed the wheels and finished in the bunch. Well, we look forward to seeing you wearing that Adnams Best Placed British Women jersey in today's peloton. We'll also be looking out for the points jersey wearer. The Wiggle points jersey will be worn by Marianne Vos, and I spoke to her earlier in the week.
I think cycling is getting bigger and bigger in this country, and you see that people coming out, and despite, doesn't matter the weather or whatever, they'll come and watch. And yeah, for us, the racing is also good. The organization is very, very good. So the stages are nice, and it's some hard racing. So I'm looking forward to 5 days of hard racing, and well, with the final in London, it will be even more special.
What did it mean to you to win back in 2014? What are your memories of that race?
Yeah, it was very special, and I especially remember the big crowds. I hope to see them again this year, but especially on the final podium, to see all the people there wearing the jersey. Yeah, I think that I'll take that memory forever.
You've had some good success in leading up into this race. How do you feel in yourself?
Well, with WM3, we were really looking forward. We were looking forward to this race. We've had some good races in the last month. Some nice victories, which gives confidence. For myself, the preparation in spring hasn't been too good, but the last month, yeah, I've had some good races. So that's always nice to get into such a stage race. And yeah, I'm looking forward.
When we see everything that you've achieved, you still have the hunger and the excitement about racing, which I think, you know, we love to see.
Yeah, well, yeah, of course, me too. And when everything comes together, well, it's nice, and I know there are chances, but I'll have to grab the moment, and yeah, there might be a chance here as well.
From the start in Stoke-on-Trent, Stage 2 heads into the Staffordshire countryside. The iceberg sprints come at Roaster and Cheadle, and then the terrain gets a bit more lumpy. There are Skoda Queen of the Mountains climbs at Ipstones and Gun Hill, before the route loops back to Stoke. With a rich industrial heritage, Stoke-on-Trent is world famous for its ceramics. It's the second time the UK's biggest professional women's race has come to the Potteries, following last year's win by Marianne Vos. This time around, the city will host both the start and finish of the stage, with the peloton tackling the tricky terrain of the Staffordshire countryside in between. Well, that's what the riders will be facing today, Alison. It's a little bit blustery. The forecast is for some heavy rain as well. What were your thoughts when you looked out this morning?
Yeah, it's not raining yet, but it's hardly on the forecast, so it's going to be a tough one, but I don't mind the rain too much, and obviously being from not too far from here, I live in Manchester, so you get a lot of rain anyway, so yeah, it's going to be tough, and I think it'll be nervous in the bunch, and it's got some pretty tough climbs towards the end with Gun Hill, so yeah, it's going to be difficult to predict what the racing will be like, and I think it'll probably be a smaller bunch towards the end of the race.
And I suspect there's going to be some quite aggressive attacking early on in this race to look at how they can actually start digging in to this huge lead of Kasia.
Yeah, I think there will be, but as I say, there's still some long stages to go. So I think everyone's still going to be very nervous, and whether they think it's bridgeable, because she's a strong rider, and she's very good on the climb. So I think it's going to be tough, and maybe the other teams will have to settle for maybe just stage wins now.
You talk about the climbs, also just as important, particularly on a day like today when it can be quite wet and a little bit slippy on the roads, is descending. Just how much work do you put in as a team and as riders into your descending?
Yeah, I mean, obviously when you're training you go up the climbs and you descend, but it's always very different when you're in a bunch, and it's sort of trusting the other riders, which sometimes is quite difficult to do. So yeah, you've just got to stay aware really, and trust your tyres.
Well, best of luck today. Stay safe out there. That's what Alice has to say ahead of today's stage in Stoke. Let's hear from some of the other riders now. So Eileen, how do you see things panning out today?
I think it's going to be a really tough race. Not only is the course extremely difficult, we pre-rode this course, so I think it's worse that you actually know what's coming. I'd rather not know. The big teams are going to be trying to limit their losses and close that gap, so I think it'll be very attacking race. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
What's the plan today then?
Defend this beautiful green jersey. I have a really green froggy bike, so I have to match it till Sunday, I hope.
Have you had a look at today's profile? A couple of tough climbs towards the end?
Yeah, the final is pretty hard compared to yesterday's stage. It's way different. And actually it suits me, so I hope without any bad luck and without any crashes we can get through the finish line.
Well, this city has always been a big supporter of bike racing, and it's no different today. Let's get stage 2 of the OVO Energy Women's Tour underway, with commentary once again from Hugh Porter and Sharon Laws.
We're in Stoke-on-Trent for the start of stage 2 of the OVO Energy Women's Tour, and ahead of the riders today, a tough 144 kilometres. Well, yesterday the race started with 99 riders. We lost 6, so 93 are rolling away today. Now then, Sharon, what kind of a day do you think we're going to get?
I think we're going to see a much more aggressive race today. After they let Niewiadoma get such a big gap yesterday, the teams are going to want to try to isolate her, whereas WM3 are going to want to try to control the race. So I think today's going to be really exciting, much more aggressive, many attacks.
Well, the hills and the sprints come in the final 64 kilometres, and we can show you the map and you will see exactly where we are with the profile, and we are getting very close to the first in the Iceberg Sprints competition at Rosta. Well, the early stages, lots of riders tried to get away, but after 54 kilometres, it was Anna Trevisi, the Italian, on the Ela Cipollini, she's the second rider here, that went clear. And then 4 kilometres later, the Canadian, Alison Jackson, joined her. And at the moment, the two leaders have got an advantage of almost a minute.
I don't think there's going to be too much concern with these two. They're not GC contenders and not known riders. But of course, we've got the sprint coming up. They'll take the first 2 points, but there'll be a race from the peloton for this 1 second that's available for the third place for the sprint.
I can tell you that the two riders that are clear are a couple of minutes behind the green jersey leader after the lone breakaway, impressive lone breakaway yesterday of Niewiadoma.
That's Amelia Farlin on the front there in the Wiggle High Five black jersey. She looks like she's leading out for the sprint.
Here we go, coming up to the line, and it's going to be contested and quite fiercely as well, and it's Jackson on the front. Jackson looking to take this. Jackson does take it. In second place it was Trevisi. Yes. So 3 points and 3 seconds to Jackson.
Interesting to see those two sprint because they're quite low on GC, so it doesn't matter, but maybe they want to try for the classification.
Now this is the charge to the line then for the third position, and inevitably we have got Katie Archibald in the mix again here, and it looks like Archibald's going to take the 1 point and the 1 second. If she does, that'll be a payback for yesterday, because she got 2 fourths yesterday, but she does get third over the line. So Katie Archibald finishes third.
And you could see Jolien de Hoor there from Wiggle also trying to contest for that, so that's a great second there for Katie.
So that's the first Iceberg Sprint tidied up for the day. We've got another one coming at Cheadle, and that's in around about 14 kilometres time. The two leaders, that's Trevisi and Alison Jackson, were hauled in by the main peloton, and then the 6 riders that you're looking at have distanced themselves off the front of the main bunch. And I tell you, this is quite a good group.
This is a really good group, Hugh. We've got all of the major teams represented, and there's some very good riders in there, Trixie Worak and Majerus.
And they are approaching the second sprint at Cheadle, that's at 94 kilometres.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they're going to go for these points. As I said, this is a good group. It could stay away for some time.
Yeah, we got Majerus there, the Luxembourg champion. She had a very good day yesterday, finishing third on the stage. I'm just wondering if she's going to put herself about here to try and get the 3 second bonus, because that would be very, very useful indeed. You can see the line ahead, and it is Majerus that's making the move down the outside. And the rest, well, it doesn't seem as though they're going to be bothered. So Majerus takes the 3 seconds on the line there, and that will mean now she's gone 1 second ahead of Marianne Vos in the overall standings. There are the rest of the positions.
Yeah, she didn't need to make too much effort there. It didn't look like the other girls were contesting.
And what it does mean is that the overnight leader, Lisa Klein, will remain as the holder of the jersey for the Iceberg Sprints classification. Now there's the profile to tell you where we are on today's stage, and we're on the foot slopes of Ipstones. This is a Category 1 climb, and it's 4.3 kilometres long. Now 3 riders are trying to get away from the original 6. You're looking at the leader on the road. This is Lucinda Brand, who rides for Team Sunweb, and at the moment she's turning a very, very neat pedalling style there. And in the early stages of the climb, you can see riders are in difficulty.
Yeah, these riders have already been dropped, so it shows. Here's Lucinda. Now, she's a dangerous rider to let go away. She was actually 4th in the Cyclocross World Championships this year, but she's also won Het Nieuwsblad and 4th Strade Bianchi, 3rd at Ronde van Drenthe and 4th at Flanders. So this is another dangerous move like it was yesterday.
So Brand looking good here at the head of the race, and a long way to go ahead of them, but at the moment she's pedaling very smoothly. It'll be interesting to just see the developments behind, because as I said, 2 riders also have got away from the original 6 and they are trying to get on terms with the leader. The other 2 that we'll expect to see is Majerus, in fact there she is on the left, and Worak, the German, who's a former medalist in the World Time Trial Championships. But the peloton, as you can see, are not too far behind those 2.
Yeah, I think those 2 are going to be rapidly absorbed. We can't quite see the gap now to Lucinda.
It's coming down all the time, so it's not going to be too long, I don't feel, until that group comes right up to them. But you can see the green jersey there, the overall race leader, and that is Kasia Niawiyadoma, and I must admit she's riding a very clever race there. A young age belies her ability to read the contest.
Yes, that's right, and it will be interesting to see who else is in that group, whether she's been isolated from her other teammates. It looks like that chasing group behind these is a little bit reduced.
It also looks as though it's going a little bit further back as well. They looked as though they were going to get swept up there, Sharon, but now I think they've re-established the advantage. But look at this, going away in some style then is Brand.
Yeah, and these other 2 are chasing hard as well. All of these 3 riders are riders I'd picked today because of the weather conditions. It's really wet, but these 3 riders, it doesn't bother them, these conditions, and they're very gutsy riders, very good technically.
So Sunweb are on a bit of a roll here. As you can see, the face of the concentration of Majerus, the Luxembourg champion. She's actually finished 3rd overall in this race in its history, and also has got stage victories to her credit. But this is the rider at the moment that's leading the business end of the contest.
Yeah, and interestingly, I spoke to Lucinda ahead of this race, and she's really motivated, and she did say to me that she was expecting them to be in top shape, because of course we've got the national championships in a couple of weeks' time.
Just forward a bit on the peak of the saddle there, which is always a telltale sign that the pressure is being applied, and you can see the effort here by the brace of riders that well, trying to make inroads into the advantage that Brand is carving out, but at the moment they don't seem to have an answer for it.
No, there's still a steady gap in between them. Interestingly, Trixie Worak's, I think, probably one of the most experienced riders in the peloton. She's been riding, I think, since about 2003, which is incredible. And she had a horrific accident last year and actually had to have her kidney removed, and still went to the Rio Olympics, which was really incredible.
So remember what I said, it's 4.3 kilometers long, this, and when they get to the summit there will be 40 kilometers of racing to go. So the way these 2 hills are placed on the stage, it is a perfect platform to try and develop a winning move.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a very decisive part of the race here, and of course we can see Lucinda's just still working really hard. She's maintaining that gap. And of course it will be interesting, much easier on the descent if you're alone and it's a bit wet.
So there we are, you can see the flags blowing in the breeze as we come to the summit of the climb, and there's 10 points waiting here for Brand, who didn't pick up any points in the Queen of the Mountains yesterday, but she's opened her account nicely there with 10 points. Remember, the leader overnight in this competition is Audrey Cordon of Wiggle High Five, who won both climbs on stage 1. Second over the top there is Worak, and 3rd Majerus.
Yeah, I think now for Audrey Cordon, she should be staying in the jersey, because of course these riders in front now weren't contesting yesterday. Looking
back at the peloton, this is the team of Drops, and at the moment they've got Alice Barnes that's going well. She's the highest placed British rider after stage 1.
And you can see there Lucinda down in the drops with her very aero position here. She's a very good descender, and it's very difficult to stay with her.
That's the gap, not too much, is it? There are the places, and the important position there is Audrey Cordon, who was 4th, because that means she's added more points to her overnight tally, and she will retain the Skoda Queen of the Mountains jersey.
here we go. You can see Lucinda just ascending now. She's, as I said, very good descender. Though it looks like she slipped her chain there, but no, all back. She's all fine now.
Now this is the new chaser, because I can tell you the original two, Mazuras and Warak, were absorbed by the bunch, and now we're looking at the Italian champion. This is Cecchini, who is trying to get up to Lucinda Brand.
Yeah, this is another interesting move, because this is another very good rider. It's such an exciting race today with all these different riders going off the front.
Yeah, the Italian champion working hard, and if she could get across, that would add some strength to the breakaway rider at the front, because on your own it is very, very tough indeed. Although we did see yesterday Nui Adoma stayed clear and at one point establish a fantastic lead, but still coming home with a 1 3/4 advantage. Just talk us through that little guard at the back. That's a little deflector there for the rain, I think, isn't it, Sharon?
Yes, it's actually, they call them an ass saver, and Iris Slappendel has designed one of those, but they are quite useful.
On the wet roads, better than getting soggy shorts, isn't it? It just stops the rain, soak in the shorts, which makes it pretty uncomfortable when you're on the saddle for a long wet stage. But once again, you're looking at the Italian here, working hard. This is Cecchini. And if she can sight Brand, that of course will be a spur for her.
That's very true. Oh, and Lucinda's now just reaching the second QOM of the day.
25 kilometres to go, and we are now heading on to the iconic ascent of Gun Hill. It's 2.3 kilometres long, and Sharon, dare I tell you, in my career I raced up this several times, and it is a brute.
Yeah, unfortunately I've not had the honour of this one. You could just see Lucinda there, she's calling for some water. Obviously needs to hydrate, because this is a very long stage.
But if they can get to the top, I say if she can get the company of the Italian champion and they can get to the top of this climb clear, just over 20 kilometres to go, that's a perfect platform to try for the victory. There's the group that you're looking down on. It's still quite a sizable posse of riders there.
It is. It will be interesting to see the composition of those riders. Of course, what I said at the beginning, a lot of the teams will be trying to isolate Niewiadoma today from her teammates, because then they can attack her, and of course she can't follow every move.
Well, here is the next chaser. This is Jasinska, and Jasinska now is trying very hard to get up to the Italian champion. Jasinska, a member of the Silence Pro Cycling team, and the leader of their squad is Danny King.
Yes, that's right. We can see a better shot of the peloton here, and it looks like there's a lot of Bols Dolmans in there.
The green jersey is also in there as well, so she's riding a very, very classy race. That's Kasia Niewiadoma. So Niewiadoma at the moment is reading the race very, very well.
Yes, as we said, she's very experienced and she has a sizable gap, and it's going to be very difficult with such a good climber for any of the other teams to challenge that today.
Well, this is the rider that's trying to get on terms with the Italian champion. And I tell you what, Jasinska, the 33-year-old Polish rider, he's making a real good effort here. This is bridgeable. She could join up with Cecchini.
Yeah, this will be an interesting move. If she can join with Cecchini and then they could get to Lucinda Brandt, it could be a very dangerous move that could stay away till the finish.
Yep, three together, sharing the workload. Great opportunities to stay away for the stage spoils in Stoke-on-Trent. Waiting to see just who's going to try and make a move here at the head of this peloton.
Yeah, there doesn't seem to be too much concern at the moment. They're riding quite easily.
Look at the rock and rolling style here as she's trying to get up to the rider ahead, but it looks like the Italian is going away from her. She's put a lot of effort in to get clear of the group. Now then, has she got the power to get up to Cecchini? Doesn't look like it to me. But right at the front, you can see the green jersey there of the overall race leader.
Yeah, she'll be staying near the front just in case there's any dangerous moves. Of course, there's Bols Dolmans there as well, so she's just going to watch. You can see also there, I think that's Ashley Mulman, also a very good climber. See, all the top climbers here are very close to the front.
There we are, that underlines just how hard it is. Look, the bottom gear is engaged now, and she has to keep getting out of the saddle to get forward momentum.
Yeah, and you can see now the conditions are getting worse. The roads are quite wet, which of course doesn't matter so much on the climb, but when we get to the descent, that's could play a part.
Yeah, vigilance will certainly be the order of the day. When we were looking at the peloton, I caught a glimpse there of the British road champion. That's Anna Barnes. So Barnes is having a good day.
She is, and a lot of people always call her a sprinter, but as she's developed over the years, she's definitely become much more of an all-round rider.
Well, I'm expecting a huge crowd at the top of this hill. They generally gather here. They love it. Cycling very, very popular in this part of the world. And this has been a cracking course today. They've gone down through Stafford. They've swept along to Rudesley on the edge of the glorious Cannock Chase, and then weaved their way back to Roster and Cheadle. And now they're on this final climb. So who's it going to be that crests the summit and sets themselves up for the run to the finish?
And of course, Hugh, we're not only just the leaders at the front now, the climb's also important for Audrey Cordon, she wants to maximise her points in the mountain jersey.
Well, nice style. She's back in the saddle, but look at this. She's stubbornly trying to get up to the rider ahead. So Cecchini at one point looked as though she was going to go further away from Jasinska, but Jasinska now looks very much to me as though she's got a bridge.
I think you could be right, but I think Lucinda's now looks like she could be reaching nearly the top, so she's going to take those important points here.
Yep, she'll get another 10 points for getting to the top of this climb, so that'll be 20 in the bag for today. That's a nice day's work in the Skoda Queen of the Mountains competition, and that will elevate her right up the standings into second spot behind the overnight leader, providing she gets more points when they get to the top.
Yes, and of course, Hugh, that's because the climbs today are much harder and have more points on offer than they have done yesterday.
Still keeps rearing up, doesn't it? I told you it was a brute, this one, Sharon. How would you fancy your chances on this one?
Not anymore, that's for sure.
Well, I think the junction's going to be made here, and I'm just wondering if it's going to be made before we get to the top.
Yeah, and look at the trees blowing there. The conditions are looking pretty tough out there. Yep. Not when you. So for Lucinda, if you can actually have some company, that's going to be helpful.
Still, it goes on. Mentioned at the start, didn't I? 2.3 kilometres long, and remember, it's all uphill, so that 2.3 kilometres is very, very tough indeed. Great ride here then by Jasinska. Is now within just a few pedal revs of dropping into the pace of the Italian champion.
Oh, and you can see now how it's shattering behind in the chase group. It looks like we've got 3 riders off the front from this group.
Thinning down as well, isn't it? Thinning down there.
And I think we've got Nivedoma there. So the green jerseys in this group, possibly Audrey Cordon. Can't see who else.
Yeah, the green jersey is there. Oh, my goodness me, look at this. So Jasinska hasn't got up to the Italian, and the rest look as though they're going to sweep them up. So they looked as though they were lining up for second and third at the top of the climb. It's not going to happen, and this chasing group are going to sweep them up, and they're going to be lining up for the run to the line.
Oh, what an exciting race. And you can see it's the top climbers here. Ashley Moorman's coming up on the outside left. She's wearing the red Bigler helmet. And I think we have Anna van der Breggen there. And Nivedoma, look at that style. She's very comfortable.
Cordon in the middle as well. Now then, she'll be looking to try and get some points. They're chasing down Brand that you're looking at. Brand has got the 10 points in the pocket here, but behind, what a contest is developing there. Brand, well, she can't wait for the summit. She really has worked hard all the way up this hill.
Yeah, and it's such a long climb. It's still going. Look at that.
Told you, didn't I? Set the scene. And I tell you what, there's evidence of the heavy showers that have been falling today. Side of the road, there's still pools, but earlier on the lower slopes of the climb, it was very, very wet indeed. But there's some strength in this group. This is another dangerous move.
It is, and actually, interestingly, that's not Audrey Cordon there. That's Elisa Longo Borghini in the Wiggle black outfit. She's also a very good climber. She won Strada Bianchi this year.
Certain amount of fluidity here with riders coming up to this group and riders falling back as we look at Brand cresting the summit and 10 points in the bag. And I tell you what, she'll be glad to see that line.
She will, and she loves descending, so she's going to enjoy this descent as well.
Well, Anna van der Breggen is on the far side of this group. She's wearing the jersey as the World Tour leader. There she is on the extreme left. And Longo Borghini is in this group, and coming up as well is Audrey Cordon.
You can see here too that this is quite a dangerous move for Nivedoma because she's been isolated. There's no other WM3 rider with her at the moment.
I don't think that seemed to bother her. There was nobody with her yesterday.
No, that's very true, and she doesn't look too phased.
But look at this. The whole group, despite the severity of this incline, has come back together as they now kick on for the line. They've sighted the line, and now this is a move for second place, and that looks like Audrey Cordon to me, that may well have taken it. Yes, because she's got the Queen of the Mountains jersey on. So Cordon has taken the 9 points at the top there.
Yeah, that's going to secure her into the jersey for tomorrow.
There it is, result confirmed. Brand we saw with the 10. Cordon coming over for second, and that means that her lead has remained. In fact, it's increased, so she will be on the podium later collecting the Skoda Queen of the Mountains jersey. Looking at Lucinda Brand, she's tried valiantly to try and win this stage, but it's all over. The group behind are closing up very quickly as we're in the outskirts of Stoke.
Yeah, you can just see her there, Hugh, talking on the radio. So, I mean, the riders can see her, but she's obviously communicating that her day's done.
Well, it was a valiant effort, but now we are in the charge for the finish. And look on the front here, we've got riders from Ayla Cipollini, Sunweb, Canyon Schramm, also the green jersey is there of the overall race leader.
Yeah, it's important now for Niewiadoma to watch everything. Obviously, I don't think now she could lose at 1 minute 42, but she needs to be up near the front and just following, tracking and watching what's happening.
A little bit of fragmentation there in the group as riders try valiantly to get clear on the right. This is exactly what's going to happen now. The concluding stages are going to be encrusted with drama as riders try to distance themselves off the front and avoid the sprint.
That's right, and look, that's Anna van der Breggen there. She's driving hard on the front now, followed by Ellen van Dijk, and we've also got former winner here, Lisa Brenner there.
So Lisa Brenner, who is celebrating her birthday today, actually, so that would be a wonderful birthday present if she could clinch the stage. Another attack here on the left. This is exactly what you can expect, and the peloton behind are stalling. 5 kilometres to go, 3 miles left, and yet again another rider coming clear, and that's Chantel Black.
Yes, she's a very strong rider and known for these late attacks, so that's a dangerous move there, so I'm sure she's going to be chased down quite soon.
The pace really is high now. They're ramping it up, and this group has thinned down significantly. A lot of riders are going to lose heaps of time today, but these are the leading contenders.
Yeah, you can see there we've got gaps, and it's so important now to try and close those gaps. This is when things can go, and we've got tired legs. It's been a long, long stage.
Well, last year it was Marianne Vos that was the winner here in Stoke. She beat Leah Kirchmann on that occasion, and third was Emma Johansson.
Yes, you can see there was just a lull in the pace, and there's an attack gone on the right-hand side, and that's a perfect time to attack.
And if you could get a slender advantage, 2 or 3 of you, and start to relay each other, that's, of course, the way to get clear to contest the finish. But everybody here is very vigilant. Everybody here wants to be in with a chance. There is the Queen of the Mountains on the left, Cordon, just speaking on her radio.
Yes, and we've got Tiffany Cromwell there. She's from the same team as Hannah Barnes.
Well, she'll be looking to try and help Anna Barnes, the British champion. She has had a stage victory in the history of the Tours, but we've got 4 kilometres to go, and yet another attack on the left. Well, this really is exciting stuff.
Yeah, you can see there we've got Alice Barnes too in the pink jersey. She's just behind, but this is a wiggle rider off the front. This is Claudia Lichtenberg.
But every time somebody makes a move, it's countered. If they haven't got representation, immediately they try to bridge, and it is Team Sunweb now that are bringing the rest of the field up.
Yeah, and in fact that's Lucinda Brandt, so although she was tired from her break, she's doing an incredible job, and we've got Katie Archibald there in the red helmet behind.
And Anna van der Breggen, the Olympic champion, just a tad further back, and she's looking very, very strong. She's had a sensational season this year, so don't discount the Olympic champion van der Breggen.
Now, we've also got Danny King there, you can see in the green helmet, so it's great to see so many British riders up here.
And the green jersey is also there. She's reading every move, and she's 5th back at the moment.
But that's a phenomenal attack there by Anna van der Breggen. Look at that pace.
Yeah, van der Breggen now really beginning to inject pace and try and stretch the rest out.
You could see Niewiadoma there recognise that was a dangerous move and was quickly onto her wheel.
So once again, we're all back together, but look at the length of the group here. It's stretching out, isn't it? This is all because of the attacks that keep unfolding. Another go at the front.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Canyon Schramm.
I think that could be Tiffany Cromwell again.
So Cromwell once again having a crack here. This is where the road goes downhill slightly. And Sharon, they'll need to be vigilant when they get to the finish, because it is a tricky finish.
It's a very tricky finish. The riders will of course been able to see this finish because they started in the same place. So all of them probably would have checked it out before the start of the stage. But it's still very technical, and there's some roundabouts. They need to be in front, and you can see everybody's fighting here.
2 kilometres to go. So 2,000 metres of racing left then to tidy up the second stage of this race.
And Tiffany Cromwell's really ramping up this pace.
So she, tried to force the pace at the front, but the rest were all profiting from the lift in the tempo. And there's a slight lull in the action, but for how much longer? Who is going to try next?
Yeah, you can see there's a lull, and also a lot of street furniture here. Riders trying to decide which is the quickest side of the road to pick.
Well, pick a sprint winner out of this lot.
Yeah.
Marianne Vos is in here as well, so you wouldn't discount Vos, would you?
No, and that's Chantal Black. As I said, she's going up on the outside. As I said earlier, she's known for these late attacks.
So Black now having a crack at the front from Bowles Dolman. One big loser. We haven't seen any sign at all of Lizzie Dignan. She's missed this move.
Yeah, I don't think she's in this group at all. We haven't seen her.
So once again, her teammates on the front. This is Black trying to, burn the rest out of the wheel, but it's impossible to do that. You've got to bring in the element of surprise by attacking from 3 or 4 back. Now then, who's going to be next to make a move?
It's simply just 1-2, 1-2, isn't it? Incredible.
Yep, one rider makes a move and then it's countered, and then immediately, once the action eases back, you seize your moment and try and attack again. We're approaching the 1 kilometre sign.
And of course, as we come into the finish, there's quite a ramp up. It's about 500-metre climb to the finish. So it's not going to favour your pure sprinters. Oh, and there's another move on the outside.
Yeah, another big attack on the right. And actually, that looks quite promising. There's a gap developed.
I think that
they're going
could
to
be
allow them to go. It's the Olympic champion on the front having a go here, Anna van der Breggen.
Yes, and she's closely followed there by Audrey Cordon. Of course, she's the leader in the mountain jersey.
So van der Breggen at the front, then it's Cordon. These are the two now that are bringing the group forward. She looks over the left shoulder, and there's a slight easing again. She knows that she hasn't created any advantage. We're waiting for the next move. Still on the front then. The rider that clinched the gold in Rio on the road.
You could see there Audrey Cordon was on her radio. She's known as being one of the captains on the road for her Wiggle High Five team.
And Danny King's there as well in that green helmet on the right. Danny King, an Olympic team pursuit champion herself. Now then, that would be a story, wouldn't it, if King could nail it? She's there in the black with the green sleeves.
Yeah, and we could also see Ashley Moorman-Passio, known as a climber, but she's also a fast finisher. And there's Neva Doma, she's coming out. She's just making sure that she's close enough to the front that she can see what's happening.
So Neva Doma there in the green jersey, not letting anybody go unless she's in the move. You can just see her there on the inside. She's about 3 back. King there on the right, working hard.
Yeah, you can see the pace is really ramped by everybody's face there. And we're coming in, there's one of the roundabouts. And you can see now the roads are actually quite wet, which is going to make some of the riders quite nervous.
1 kilometre to go then. Now, is anybody else going to try and chance their arm here by jumping clear? Because at the moment, it is the Olympic champion on the front, van der Breggen.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see any more late attacks. The pace, Anna van der Breggen is really ramping up this pace. She's keeping it so high that I don't think anyone's going to be able to attack from this.
Well, van der Breggen hoping that she might be able to set herself up with a chance. Tell you what, don't discount the British champion either, Hannah Barnes, because Barnes is a very good finisher. So that would be a nice story if we could get a British victory here in Stoke-on-Trent.
Yes, and Hannah's been wanting a stage win here, I know, very much.
So that's Katie Archibald right at the back of that group as we're getting nearer and nearer then to the 200-metre mark. This is the right-hander.
Yeah, and you can see it's a very technical finish here. It's a bit of a chicane, it's sort of an S shape. It's coming around the corner now. Oof. Wow, look how tight they've taken that corner.
And now they really are going for it.
And that's Ellen van Dijk on the front there. We saw her finish really well yesterday. And coming up on the outside, that's Amy Peters from Balls Dolmans. And she's taken the corner first.
And it's Peters then that hits the front right on time. And Peters is going to swing round that left-hander and she'll see the line and takes the stage. Peters takes it then from Anna Barnes with Ellen van Dijk coming in third. Well, what a finish that was, but Peters timed that to perfection.
She did, and that was, you could see how important it was that she took those corners first, and she knew that. Look at that, incredible. And she really gapped there, and she's coming round, took the corner as tight as she could, and quite a few bike lengths there.
And that's the first win for Amy Peters, riding for her new sponsor, Bowles Dolman, and it was timed perfectly. Confirmation of the win for Amy Peters ahead of Hannah Barnes and Ellen van Dijk. Marianne Vos was fourth, just ahead of race leader Katarzyna Niewiadoma. So Amy Peters takes the win on stage 2 of the Women's Tour, just like she did last year. Katarzyna Niewiadoma still leads the Wiggle points classification. Audrey Cordon hangs on to the Skoda Queen of the Mountains jersey. And Lisa Klein keeps hold of the Iceberg Sprints jersey despite not picking up any points today. It's a family affair in the Adnams Best British Rider classification, Anna Barnes replacing her younger sister Alice. But there's no change of race leader. Katarzyna Niewiadoma retained the Ovo Energy green jersey.
Well, still in the green jersey, that's what you wanted when we talked to you this morning. Just how was it today?
Oh, it was definitely a really hard stage, I have to admit. From the start, a lot of teams tried to create different situations, like with a lot of attacks. And of course, my team tried to control everything, but it's not so easy, especially when you have to ride like everyone when is riding against you, and you have to really defend yourself. I have to really admit that I'm super happy that the race ended up with a bunch sprint and I didn't lose any time. But yeah, for sure, it was one of the hardest days, and the steeps are really hard and sharp here. I didn't expect it like in UK.
The Polish champion has 1 minute and 46 seconds lead over Marianne Vos and Hannah Barnes. The Dutch duo of Ellen van Dijk and Amy Peters are a couple of seconds further back, with Ashley Moolman-Passio and Alice Barnes at 1:52.
Well, fresh from the podium wearing the Best British Rider Adnams jersey is Hannah Barnes. Congratulations. How was it out there today?
It was a really tough day. I mean, we had the first, I think, 40k was rain. So that made it pretty crazy, especially the roads around here. The Staffordshire roads are pretty technical, narrow, and added a bit of extra excitement.
A great finish from you. You've raced here in Stoke before, the roads are familiar to you, but just so important to get that second place and to lift yourself up the general classification.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking and just discussing who felt the best out of all of us, and I think I felt the best, but we just said that we'd be really aggressive going into the finish and just save me for if it did come down to a sprint. To be able to be there and in the mix is really great. I've not been in that opportunity this year, so yeah, it's just a really good confidence boost going into the next 3 days.
And does that change the way you approach this race now, seeing where you're sitting now in the GC?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. We came into the race with wanting stage wins and a potential GC, but kind of if you go for stage wins, GC can kind of look after itself. I mean, Kasia yesterday, she did a solo break, and I don't think many teams were expecting that to stay away for that long, all the way to the line. But yeah, it's kind of anyone's to play for, really. They're really hard stages going into tomorrow and Saturday, and then, I mean, Sunday in London is also challenging. It's not going to be a walk in the park. So yeah, we're just really looking forward to it, taking each day as it comes, and yeah, just chasing those stage wins.
Well, your sister started the day wearing that Adnams Best British Rider jersey. You've wrestled it off her. Who's going to be wearing it tomorrow?
I don't know, I'll have to wait and see. It's kind of just keep it in the family. It'll be good if a Barnes has it at the end of the week.
Well, thanks very much, Hannah. All the best tomorrow. Well, no change in the OVO Energy Women's Tour leadership today. I wonder what tomorrow will bring. We'll see you in Atherstone for stage 3. Bye for now.